This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hello everyone, welcome to the north, well, semi-north. I'm kind of hovering between Yorkshire and Lincolnshire to see family, friends, and then also going that way to Cleethorpes Seaside for Dan Baker's annual Seaside summer meetup. And I'm not quite sure it's seaside weather, if I'm honest, but we'll see how we get on later today. And the topic I want to talk about while I'm up here this weekend is the idea of taking interesting photographs in boring locations, because I do get the comment from time to time from people saying, it's okay for you, Mike, you've got central London to take photographs in. What about my sleepy old English village? What am I supposed to do? And it's a fair point. I mean, yeah, London is absolutely amazing for street photography and documentary photography, but I can't help but think that photography is interesting wherever you go. So let's talk about that a little bit in this video. And the reason I'm here this morning is friends live that side of the Humber Bridge, family live that side of the Humber Bridge. So I thought I'd come here in the morning right now and try and shoot some photographs. But I don't really want to shoot the typical landscape postcard shot, like just directly take a photo of the bridge. I want to try and get creative somehow. So I'm gonna have a little mooch around here and see if I can take a photograph of the Humber Bridge without it obviously just being about the Humber Bridge. I'm going to challenge myself as a little exercise this morning. And I guess the first point I want to make in this video is I also went for a brief walk this morning with my mum, and she lives in a sleepy English village, right? And we walked along a riverbank and I wasn't expecting to see anything, but I took my camera anyway, and then I saw that a tree had been blown down because of the winds last night. And I managed to get a few photographs of this tree. A cyclist rode under the tree. I thought that was quite funny. Not funny in like a, yeah, I guess it was funny, just unusual. And I'm pleased I took my camera out this morning for a little walk, as well as I am doing right now, because you just don't know what you might see. And I guess that is the first point I want to make, that unexpected things show up. And if you just have your camera with you, then you can enjoy photography for what it is. And that's just noticing things and seeing what you find, right? So I've already taken a photograph this morning that made me smile. That was the tree. And the Humber Bridge is here, so why don't I carry on this streak of trying to take photographs in places that I don't normally take photographs in? Well, here's something that I didn't expect to find, which is a neat little composition. I love the graffiti on this box, small building, whatever it is, and obviously composed with the Humber Bridge. You've got this tree on the right-hand side. You've got the bear looking out into the distance with the birds there. Now, if I could compose something like this, and then imagine if I could get a little bird to fill this negative frame, or negative space, sorry, the whole frame would be pretty complete. So, yeah, I'll take the photo and see what we can do. And just like that, I took a photograph I'm pretty pleased with. I think the dog walker walking into the composition back here really completed the frame. It's a neat little image. It's not going to win any awards, but it was pretty fun to take. And I think that's the point I want to make in this video, that you can still have fun looking for things, observing things, just trying to find the little nuances of each location. And yeah, I mean, it's an awful day. It's the middle of August and it's terrible weather. I'm still out with the camera, trying to find some time and find things to take photographs of, because it can still be done. I do believe that. I think the mentality of just because I'm not in central London, therefore I can't go and take interesting photographs, is a folly. And yeah, I'm pleased I came out for this brief moment to take photographs. That photograph I think will be as good as it gets. I'm going to keep wandering around, see if I can find anything else, but that might be as good as it gets for this morning. So here's a composition that I find very satisfying. I thought this empty bench, the side of this building, and then obviously the vista in general was quite interesting. Interesting enough to take a photograph. It is what it is. But I love lining up the bridge with the edge of this building here. So as you can see, it's not lined up there, but if I lift this up a little bit, you can see how it lines up pretty well. Yeah, I don't know, something very satisfying about that. So Now, I do appreciate that my point in this video about taking interesting photographs in boring locations isn't quite so valid here, because the Humber Bridge is actually pretty sick. So that's kind of a get out there from me. But I did think, coming up north, as I was driving further up the UK, I was thinking, I'm not going to take any good photographs this weekend. It's going to be boring. It's not central London, you know, that's what I love the most, right? But I have had a great 45 minutes walking around in the rain taking photographs. It might not look like it to you. You might think these photographs are boring and whatever, but the fact that I'm out taking photographs when I didn't expect to go and take photographs, it's just nice. It's just nice to be out trying and seeing things and observing and looking, and you know, that's what photography is really. And I think that's kind of what I'm saying in this video. You don't have to complicate it and expect to be walking down Fifth Avenue or Oxford Street in London. You can just head outside and find out. So yeah. And that will probably conclude this morning's landscape session. And it seems weird to say this, but I can see some blue sky, and I think it might be clearing up a little bit as it has stopped raining as well. So I'm going to head to Cleethorpes now. Hopefully it's a little bit sunnier by the seaside. Meet some new faces, say hello to whoever's at this photography meetup, and also hopefully take a few photographs as well. So let's head to Cleethorpes. A lunch of kings right here. Doesn't get much better than that. Northern fish and chips, the best. There's a wild bench over there. Is it not good for the shoes?
Not your shoes.
As long as you look good while taking photographs, that's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah. That's why I shoot when I like it.
His is much bigger than mine and yours, Dan.
I know. I'm a little bit jealous.
Before we carry on with this video, I'd just like to take a moment to share with you today's sponsor, Squarespace. I've been using Squarespace for many years as my go-to for hosting my photography portfolio, selling products, and writing weekly blogs. One example of how I like to use Squarespace is creating dedicated pages for my photography from different trips and events. And here's a page of images taken all by the seaside. Very recently, you may know that I also sold a zine from my New York trip. Getting the product set up on my website and selling it via Squarespace was a breeze. As a creative, having a space online that feels like yours is incredibly important. And with hundreds of beautiful templates to choose from, building and designing a website has never been easier. So why not at least start a free trial and see what you think? After that, when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Mike Chudley to save 10% of your first purchase of a website or domain. Now, let's get back to the video. I've got a question for you. How do you keep photography interesting when you're in a place that inherently might not be, even you might not be that interested in taking photographs? How do you spark a bit of motivation, or what's the process?
Well, we've got two options. The first, probably my favourite, is we go to the pub and we have a few drinks.
No, that doesn't count. We're talking photography here.
Okay, so you could just go and get a coffee and put your camera next to it.
Good idea.
Second one would be looking for like any unusual things, anything that sort of catches your eye. I recently just come back from the lakes. I was halfway up a hillside. Was not expecting to see someone had lugged literally a full suitcase up to the top of this hill and just plonked it on the edge of this hillside. So I had my camera around my neck, I shot a few pictures, and chances are that was probably one of my favourite shots that I actually took while we was out there.
The lakes is quite interesting anyway. So let's pretend you're in a sleepy old English town that isn't interesting. What are you thinking when you take your camera outside? Like why how do you make that interesting?
Well, I think a lot of it goes back to looking at like the greats. So you've got, I always mention Eggleston. You look at Eggleston's stuff, and he's been photographing in what he assumed at the time was these boring, run-down places with nothing going on. And we look back at these pictures now and think, God, they're amazing.
Yeah.
So if we can be in this, I don't know, the middle of nowhere in England, there will be this quaint little thing that today looks rubbish, but in 30 years' time, that little rubbish place with just normal-looking cars is going to age so nicely. It's going to have a nice vintage to it in 30 years' time. So well, it's all about perspective, isn't it? Time's a beautiful perspective, but also something that I maybe not find that interesting today or in my location. You show someone in, say, the US something in a sleepy little UK town. That's got interest to it. But it depends. If you're doing it for other people's interests, or if you're doing it for your own. If you're doing it for your own, then yeah, you've got to find something that resonates with you, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I always look for that. If I can find something that resonates with me in a tiny little town, then I'm going to use that as my hook in to start shooting. But other than that, I wouldn't put any pressure on myself.
I like that. The expectation, I think, if you get rid of the expectation, then you probably won't have any issues to get go.
Yeah,
to start.
yeah. I know that if I was out shooting, this is my bread and butter around here, so I'm quite happy with this. But anywhere else, if I get something amazing, if I don't, you know what? I'll shoot another day. It's all good.
Just to add a little bit to what Dan said there, I like the idea that no matter where you are, there will be some characteristics or quirkiness, or there'll be something about that place that makes it stand out compared to other places. So even if you're in a sleepy English town and you're trying to go and do street photography, there will be something about that quiet little town that makes it unique. You're watching this video thinking, my town is boring, there is nothing going on here. I would put money on there being something to photograph. And it might not be walking down Oxford Street. Don't think of London street photography while you're trying to take photographs in a sleepy old town. A bit like what Dan said, Eggleston was taking photographs of stuff, well, mundane stuff, but it turned out to be actually quite interesting, and time did that, I think, a little bit. So even if you are in a boring place, there has to be something unique about that boring place. I mean, who's to say it's boring? It's just your perspective of that place, right? I'm probably just waffling on a little bit here, but I just like the idea that photography can be interesting no matter where you are, and just saying that, oh no, I'm not going to take photographs today because where I live is rubbish. It's just, it's an excuse, I think. And also on that note, it looks like the sun is coming out and the clouds are leaving, maybe. I can see some blue skies a little bit. So hopefully the sunset is gorgeous and the tide comes back up, and hopefully the light is perfect for photographs this evening. So yeah, pretty good day so far. Just been photographing these two gentlemen digging for worms, and now I think me and Benj are going to get caught out.
Very wet, yeah. It's gonna...
Let's move. Welcome to August in the UK. Fancy an ice cream?
I fancy a Coke.
Earlier in this video when I was talking about the sunshine and the blue skies, I completely jinxed it. Decided I quit street photography and I just shoot landscapes now.
Thank you.
Aww, what a cute day at the seaside. Loving the way the light is just creating these little patches and making the white and red really stand out, and then you've got this lone chair here. If we can make the blacks really black and the whites stand out along with the colour, this is a lovely little composition. And I think, I was about to say, as people pass through here, you get a little silhouette, or a little shadow, so this could turn out to be something quite nice. The light here is just perfect. The way these, oh, you even see that shadow there, the way these reds and whites just, the way that the blue sky and the red and the white and the light all combined. This looks so good. And hopefully a bird might produce a little shadow on this wall here. But the chances of that are very slim, so I won't wait around for too long. I kind of like this fish and chip sign because it's so irrelevant. Portrait sessions with Benj.
How's your photo meetup been?
Pretty good. Do you want pictures of me with my eyes closed, mouth open?
Well, I think we experienced every weather under the sun yesterday in about 4 hours by the seaside. So that was funny. And I'm back in the car now to head back down south towards more population. And even though the last few days up here haven't been about photography specifically, I've just had my camera with me. I've actually taken some pretty cool images, I think, some images that I'm pretty pleased with. So that's a win. I will have to caveat this by saying, if you're interested in taking photographs of polar bears, then that's not possible wherever you go. That's a very specific thing. You have to go to a specific location, of course, to make that happen. But if you're interested in street documentary, observational photography, the kind of stuff that I like to take photographs of, pretty much anything, I guess that category is just photography in general. I'm happy to just show up wherever with the camera and see what happens. And I think that's the main point I want to make in this video. If you just head out, you have your camera with you, and actually remove the expectation of seeing anything, but you're still looking. The world has a funny way of showing up in odd little moments, in funny little interactions, or, you know, if you just have your camera with you, you just see things. I think that's all I'm trying to say. And even when Dan Baker said in this clip earlier, he was hiking somewhere in the lakes and a suitcase appeared at the top of the mountain. How was he supposed to know that would happen? He wouldn't. He just had his camera with him and the world presented him with something unique. And I think that's where my mindset goes when I think about the idea of, do I bother to take my camera with me today? How do I take photographs in this so-called boring place? I came up north this weekend personally because I'm from this area. I think it's kind of boring. I'm probably wrong in many ways there, but I don't think anything of it because I love taking photographs in central London. But nevertheless, I still brought my camera with me everywhere I went over the last few days, seeing friends and family, and I've had a wonderful time taking pictures as well. And that's what I love about photography. I think you can take photographs and find interesting things wherever you are. And on that note, I'd like to thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys very shortly. Peace.